Welcome back to DVC Weekly. This is episode 117. My name is Jason Erpelding. I'm the broker of Buy and Sell DVC. I'm here with Scott Ferrioli.
I'm the owner of DVC-Rental.com and Buy and Sell DVC.com.
And today is May 3rd, 2023. So your 11th month window is going to be April 3rd, 2024. And the 7th-month window is going to be December 3rd, 2023. And we're going to jump into the buy and sell side of things. Since we last joined you, there's been a lot of activity.
Yes, there has.
So, the Disneyland Tower, let's see, the point charts were released. The day, it went on sale yesterday, May 2nd, I believe.
I believe so, yes.
And then, let's see, so the details, so we have the annual dues, and then a portion of the annual dues are paid at check-in.
Yeah. So they're doing a transient tax like they do with Alani, but that's essentially going to be part of your dues, kind of. So the dues they've released are pretty high.
Yeah. But and then if you don't use your points there, then you don't have to pay that extra dues.
That is correct. Yes.
So
yes.
And then of course, if you rent out your points, then I don't know how that works. I don't want to throw you off there on that.
No. With renting out the points, again, and to my knowledge, it's going to be just like Alani. Essentially, whenever you check in,
the renter
you're going to be paying $2 and something cents per point. So if you've got a 100-point rental, it might cost you an extra $200 something. So whoever's checking in, again, just like Alani, it's this transient tax. And I think that was the rule that they had to come up with to get California to allow them to build another hotel, another extra tax that they get to put on it.
Do you like that, or
the extra tax?
Yeah, I mean, do you like how the dues? I mean, do you like how the dues are split up? So instead of them saying, I don't know what the total is, $11, it's $9 plus this $2.
I mean,
because I look at it as if I'm not using my points there, then I don't have to pay those dues.
Correct.
So, I mean,
again, they're not really part of the dues. I think it's just how people are kind of like wording it. Again, it's the same exact thing as if you own Hawaii and you said things, you say, oh, you throw the transient tax on the dues, because that's really what it is. It's just that the state of California wants extra money. And normally if you go to a hotel and your check-in's $1,000 for the room, they can charge you, 16% of that. But when it's on points, the state of California can't get that extra income because so that's why they're like, all right, we're going to add this on, and so it's going to be based on your points. But I forget whatever it is, $2 and something cents per point. So it's just the way for the state of California to tax these rooms, just to avoid timeshares, because timeshares aren't paying a dollar amount. So it's just another way for them to get even more money.
And then the price came out. The list price was $230 a point. Did you have any reaction to that? Do you think? Because I thought it was going to be higher. I will say.
I thought it was going to be higher as well.
Because I thought there was so much hype for this that all these people are just waiting, with their credit card drawn to buy in. That it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I thought it could have been $280 with incentives. You can buy for.
I figured it was going to be less expensive than Grand California, because Grand California is still like the deluxe resort, and Disneyland Hotel is really kind of like a moderate type resort. So I thought it was going to be higher. So I was really surprised when that came out, but then I saw how much the dues were going to be, and then the transient tax. And I'm not sure if it's 100% confirmed or not, but I saw one thing report that none of the rooms have balconies on them. So I'm like, there's little things on there that I can say that the reaction online has not been really favorable towards the hotel. So
and you might have to pay for parking.
That's right, and you have according to them now, you have to pay for parking as well.
I'm not sure if it's 100% on that.
Yeah, we won't say it's 100%, but I've seen from multiple places say that you will have to pay like a $35 fee per night fee for parking, which Grand Californian, you don't have to pay that.
Do you know why they're? Why?
I don't know.
Because I would have never thought that was coming.
No, I wouldn't either. Everything's always said that. All the parking fees are built into your maintenance fees. Why they split this one out separately and said, no, you have to pay to park here. I don't know. I don't know if maybe they don't have as much parking over there, so maybe they're trying to discourage people from all just taking cars and and parking for free. So they say, we're going to charge you to try to get less people to pay for it, less people to try to park there. I don't know, but that's the first time ever Disney's said you got to pay for parking as well.
And then I really didn't do a deep dive. I mean, again, like you say, I saw a lot of the reaction online, where it was people were number one. I don't think anyone's going to be jumping to sell their Grand Cal to buy into Disneyland Tower.
It doesn't seem that way.
Right. Now those people are like, okay, we're holding on to this forever.
That's what I've seen online too. So a lot of people who were terrified that by releasing the new Disneyland Tower, that was going to bring the prices down of their Grand Californians. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Right.
I think it's bringing the prices up. And right now, I saw a lot of people complain that there's no Grand Californians for sale, like online. There's barely any sites that have Grand Californians because everybody now is saying, we don't want this, and they're all trying to jump on the Grand Californian bandwagon.
Yeah, because Grand California on the resale side has been through quite a roller coaster since, really since the beginning, of course, when they couldn't sell, and then it became popular, then it sold out, and then, at the peak of everything going on with COVID, we had a Grand Cal sell for like $333 a point. If something back when there was like no inventory, something listed, it sold right away, super high prices. Then the prices dipped down, and then like you say, there was speculation, when this tower comes out, the Grand California prices, then all this information comes out, and then it's like, okay, I'm holding on to my Grand Cal, and if I do sell it, it's gonna sell for a premium.
Yeah.
So it was a lot to digest there. So I don't know if I covered everything in regards to Disneyland Tower, but I did see people mentioning that there's different seasons on the point chart, and when I saw that, I will tell you that I don't ever look at the seasons when it comes to the point charts. I just, like if I'm going, I just put in, I find our point calculator, I put in the check-in date, the checkout date, and I'm like, okay, this is how many points it's going to be. If I'm checking availability and it's not available, and then I see what dates are blue, I'm like, okay, this is this many points. I don't get into...
I don't really either. I think a lot of people were just saying that they didn't like that there were so many seasons because some of the year, Disneyland Hotel is lower than Grand Californian, which it should be. And then some seasons it's actually higher than Grand California.
Oh, really?
I guess they made so many seasons that they kind of went the whole gamut. That sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's more.
Then off the top of my head, I forget, how many rooms are there?
I do not know if it.
Okay. What's your prediction on how fast or if it sells out?
Are we talking about like trying to book it or like the sales wise?
Sales wise.
Again, I don't know how many rooms there are, so I don't think there's a ton. But I think that there's probably enough demand that's going to sell out relatively quick. I know the people in the know have not been chomping at the bit to get this right now. But I think there's still so many people out there that are local or that, this is kind of like the only game in town. Maybe they're not as informed as some of the other stuff, but, I think they're going to sell it relatively quickly. I don't think it's going to be a Lonnie and it's going to be years and years later.
Because if you would have asked me 8 months ago, I would have said, it's going to sell out in 2 months because it's just pent up demand for another resort. But now that all this information comes out, I don't think it's going to sell out as fast as I thought it was going to sell out.
I agree. I don't think it's going to sell out as fast as I originally thought, but I think it's a small enough resort, and there's, Grand Californian is so small that like if you want to try to get into something, you really kind of have to buy there. So I think it's still going to sell out relatively quick to other resorts, but not as fast as I originally thought as well.
And now we're going to move on.
Before you go on, don't forget the Riviera restrictions. Remember, this is going to have, we didn't mention this.
Yes.
The new Disneyland Hotel is going to have the same restrictions that Riviera has, so that if you ever need to sell your contract, as of now, whoever buys it from you is only going to be able to use it at the Disneyland
So that was
Hotel.
so I was surprised at that. Again, even because, again, it just makes it, without it, it just makes it easier to sell.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, hey, you buy this, we only have Grand Cal, we only have this, they're not going to say it's a guarantee that the price is going to go up, but most likely, this is going to go up. It's going to, so.
I figured there was no real reason that they did this for Riviera, and it ticked off a lot of people. It was kind of like a mistake. Why would they do it again? But here we are again going, and there will be resales. Once these start going on, once these, are start really getting going on sale and moving out, we'll probably see them in the resale market. I'd say maybe 5 months or so.
Yeah, because
4 months, because stuff happens.
And not everyone, of course, that buys in knows that resales exist. But if you're a buyer and you know that resales exist, you know about the restriction. To me, you're gonna say, okay, we buy this. We need to plan on, obviously most people plan on keeping it forever. But to me, it's like we have to plan on keeping this forever because you're going to take in my opinion, you're going to take a loss
yes.
if you go to sell it. So, this
is selling at $230 a point, and then you've got to sell it with less years on it and a restriction that you can only stay at this one resort. You're not going to be able to get $230 for this. You might be in the $160 range. I'm just making that up right now. But it's going to be a big loss. And the thing is, Disney's not telling these people, just so you know, if you ever need to sell this, you're going to take a big loss on it. Just like Riviera, they don't push on here that, if you sell, you're buying it, they're not going to even let you know probably that, if you ever do have to sell this, whoever buys this can only stay at this resort. So that's going to be a surprise to you if you're not watching this video or if you haven't learned it already from Riviera. That that affects you as a direct buyer. Forget the whole resale market. As a direct buyer, if you ever need to sell this, whoever buys it can only stay at that one resort. So it really devalues your contract.
Yeah, because and obviously, to me, to be one of the first buyers in, there's a little bit of gamble, if you will. Because like when the other, if you go way back in the day, like when someone's buying Boardwalk Direct, and then they can see the Boardwalk resale, and they're like, even though it was the exact same thing at that point, there was no difference buying a resale. You could say, okay, well, if we decide to sell, it's going to sell for this. Well, now, with these restrictions, like you say, you don't know what the demand's going to be on the resale side.
Now, I see you have this on here. Do you want to tease that right now? Because again,
we'll
talk about that in the upcoming weeks. But
yeah, next week we're going to talk about the possibility of another resort that might be pet friendly.
Possibly.
Possibly.
We will see. This has been dropping a lot of news over the past week or so.
Way too much news here. We got to get on to the food review. I'm taking up all the time here.
All right, let's do the food review. So Ty, do the magic trick.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! Get in my belly!
All right, for today's food review, I have to get to the parks and get out places a little bit more because I'm still at Steakhouse 71 like I was last week. So far, I've had a decent shaved prime rib. I had a very good burger. And after eating a burger and the prime rib, the best way to finish off the meal is you have to go with the dessert. So we tried the Steakhouse 71 chocolate cake. This was layers of Jack Daniel's infused chocolate cake, chocolate mousse, raspberries, and the item does contain alcohol for $11. I will say that neither of us were able to taste the Jack Daniel's at all, which is perfectly fine with us. Normally it's kind of cooked out and alcohol's cooked out when you make the food. But we weren't able to taste it because my wife hates alcohol. I'm not a huge alcohol guy either. It was a nice sized cake, really nice flavor. It was an overall very nice dessert. We were hoping that they still had the 11-layer cake that they used to serve at the top of the World Lounge. Have you ever tried that?
No.
They had an 11-layer cake that was really, really good. I know they had it there, I think, for a while, but I guess that's off the list and back at Top of the World now that they've reopened it. But this is still a very nice replacement. I give this an 8.1. We definitely enjoyed this cake. I really don't make complaints. I do know that we really, really like that Top of the World Lounge cake better. So take it for what it is. Still a really solid cake, but not as good as Top of the World Lounge.
Nice. And now we're on to the rental side of things.
So 2 weeks ago, we did the most underrated rides at each park. Now I want you to...
That was the Barnstormer, right?
That's
number one?
That's where you picked the Barnstormer.
That's where we got our views and our likes and make sure you comment, Barnstormer.
So for today, we're going to do the most overrated rides at each park. So we don't want to get too much hate mail on this. If your favorite ride is named here, we're just trying to do ones that we think are probably the lines are a little too long and it's a little bit overrated. Doesn't mean that we hate these rides. So
I don't think we have enough time to include me, so this should be all you.
Oh, while I'm doing this,
that way
think of one.
That way I can't get in trouble for overrated rides.
Just give us one at the end.
Okay.
So for Animal Kingdom, I chose the Navi River Journey. It's got super long lines. It's not a really super exciting ride at all, boat ride. There's no storytelling. It's mostly just projections and nice scenery. It's a pleasant ride, but when you compare it to a Pirates of the Caribbean where there's stuff going on, there's story being told, there's lots of animatronics, it just falls completely flat. There's one great animatronic at the end, but that's not worth, an hour plus wait, in my opinion. So over at Epcot, again, not that's a terrible ride, but the Frozen ride. Again, it's got cool projections on the faces of the animatronics, so it's not a bad ride at all. It's a basic dark ride with huge lines. So I mean, it just the coolness of the projections on the face and the movements of the faces doesn't correspond with the amount of crowds that you get. So it's a cool ride, but it's not worth an hour and a half wait. Over to Hollywood Studios, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to go with the Millennium Falcon ride. You got long lines, and it's nowhere near, in my opinion, as good as Rise of the Resistance. I think the Rise of the Resistance is so much better than the Millennium Falcon ride. I put the Millennium Falcon ride like on the same level pretty much as Star Tours. But Millennium Falcon ride literally probably 4 times the wait time as Star Tours. So if you got to pick one, just go check out Star Tours. It's in my opinion just about as good. And lastly, Magic Kingdom, and this is where I'm worried that some of the hate's going to come in, the Peter Pan ride. It's not a bad ride. It's a basic dark ride, like all of the other dark rides at Magic Kingdom, all the other dark rides at the parks. But for some reason, this ride, from a story from 70 years ago, whatever, 80 years ago, whatever it is, will have an hour-long line where Winnie the Pooh or any of the other dark rides will have a 20-minute wait. And it never makes sense to me. I mean, it's a dark ride, it's kind of cool that it actually hangs you and you're up in the air. That part's kind of cool. But just for a ride that I think is overrated, that for some reason, I mean, brand new movies come out, but for some reason the Peter Pan ride always has this, no matter when you go, has a long line. And I just don't understand why it has such a long line. So I'm sure you'll blow me up in the comments section about why Peter Pan is worth it. You know what, if you want to put that, please let us know. We love reading the comments. So if you want to tell us why Peter Pan is your favorite ride or if it's sentimental to you, please go ahead. But those are my 4 most overrated rides at each park. Now, I know you were enthralled listening to everything I just said.
I mean, I will tell you this. So,
did you come up with one?
The thing that you keep mentioning is long lines, right?
Yes, I'm just overrated. Course, ones that you sit there and go, why is there a 2-hour line for this?
So, of course, we have new people tuning in every week that haven't watched the other 116 episodes, right? And, of course, I don't want them to get intimidated by coming here for a vacation. But I just have to ask you a question because, again, you see it on different Facebook groups and things. Like when you're traveling to Disney with your kids, now of course your kids are older now, I don't know, like 15 and 13 or 16 and 12?
15, 12.
15, 12. So when you were traveling here like 5 and 2,
okay,
or 6 and 3, I can keep doing the math all day, but was it more of, hey, we're going to this park and we're kind of winging it? Or like if you see these different Facebook groups where these people have every minute planned out, I'm just curious what you were, because I'm just...
We always winged it.
Okay.
We sat there and said, what I used to do is I used to enjoy taking advantage of when there's low lines at something. I never sat there and said, I have to be here. And I know exactly what you're talking about. People sit there at 11 o'clock, we're going to do the Peter Pan ride, and now 11:35, we're going to do Haunted Mansion. And then from 12 to 12:15, we're going to stop for a bathroom break. We never did any of that. We sat there and we went around and we just looked to see what had a light line, and we take advantage of the light lines. If something has a terrible line back then and even now, we just don't do it. If a ride has a 40-minute line, we'll pretty much never do it. Just because we figured, back then we knew that we were going to be coming back. And I said, I don't want to waste an hour in a line knowing that, I'll come back next trip and maybe it'll be a 20-minute wait. And now that I'm local, it's the same exact thing. I don't wait for long lines. I'll go take advantage. Like when we go to Epcot, almost every time we go to Epcot, we typically do the Figment ride, we do Living with the Land, and maybe we'll do Soarin' or the Nemo ride, just because they have lighter lines. And that's all we pretty much do. I never get on Test Track anymore. I never get on the Frozen ride. There's a lot, I just don't get on them because as a local, I'm not gonna sit there and wait for it. I don't sit there and wait an hour for Test Track. Test Track's a fun ride. I don't want to wait an hour for it. I'll find it one day when it's a 20-minute ride, and I'll go on it for the 40th time. So we would never like that, never planned it. We would just sit there and go, and whatever looked good, we would do it at that point.
Because I'm the same way. Because I'm like, number one, I don't know when one of my kids is going to have a meltdown.
Yes.
I don't know, when they're going to be
plan.
Yeah, I don't know when they're going to be
planning
hungry.
for all the crazy stuff with their kids. Don't understand how it works because you don't know how your kid's going to react to the heat and the excitement and everything. They could just shut down at 11 o'clock in the morning.
So, I just wanted to mention that because you mentioned, like I say, and again, for me, when our kids were, 11 and under, Magic Kingdom was the place where we were at the most. And it's like, okay, you pick the thing that has the shortest line. Okay, Buzz Lightyear, there's no line. We get out, there's still no line. Let's go on again. It's like, let's just cover this stuff here that has no line because that's, like you say, you want to avoid this stuff. Even if you're not a local and you're coming here and maybe you're only doing a trip once every other year or once every 3 years, it's like, would you rather get in more things or less things? I mean, to me, you got to go with more things. But for overrated ride, I don't even know if this ride is.
Are we going to get one?
I don't know if this ride is considered high rated.
I was worried to be like, I don't even know if this ride's there anymore.
No, I don't know if this ride is considered. I don't know if this ride is considered like a must do at Magic Kingdom. Just look at it before I say it. Do people consider that like the elite rides there?
It's up there. You could say it. You could have.
But I think Space Mountain is overrated. I think it's number one. It jostles you around way too much.
You can't see anything.
You can't see anything.
So
and usually long lines. Yeah. And so I'm like, I think that ride's overrated.
No, that's a very good one. And again, your opinion's fine no matter what you said on here.
And because again, I don't remember what would you say are the top 2 rides at Magic Kingdom?
Tough.
Just off the top of your head. We probably said it 2 weeks ago. It's probably a different answer than it was 2 weeks ago. But don't rewind it to 2 weeks ago.
There are people who sit there and go, I've got to do Space Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain. But then you've got people who love the old parks and say, like Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion are the top 2. So it's those are probably the top 4 that are like the main big ones. Whether
Plus, for me, I guess it also depends on how old your kids are too.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, that's a good one. And you can say, I can sit there and say, I understand why you say Space Mountain's overrated. It's one of the biggest rides. It's got a long line. And you go in there and you go, it is jostling and you can't see anything.
Right.
If you go on Big Thunder Mountain, you've got lots of scenery around you. Or Barnstormer.
Exactly.
Amazing
Barnstormer, guess who's going to have fun? Grandpa, Grandma, Mom, Dad, the kids. Everyone's going to have a blast on the Barnstormer and you're going to see everybody. And then you're going to wave to the kids. Like,
you're the best.
Like, how is Barnstormer should be ranked way higher than Space Mountain?
He makes a good point.
And on that note,
I hear laughing in the background now.
But again, I need you. We got to leave comments this time, guys. Comments. We need comments.
What are your most overrated rides? Let us know as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun. If you're watching this, if you've made it this far, if you've suffered along with me this whole time, in the comments, put down what your most overrated are.
And especially if you're like in line right now, one of the rides, just let us know. Let us know how long the line is on the day you're there, and that's good information. So tune in next week, and we got more information for you.
Always if you can't hit those like, subscribe buttons. We're on social media all over the place. I won't list them all now because it's not worth it. But thank you so much. We love you guys.